My name is Benny Johnson, and welcome to The Benny Show. On this episode of The Benny Show, we are going to give you good news and good news only. It's Good News Friday, and so the time has come. There's been a lot of doom. There's been a lot of gloom. There's even been assassination attempts for Supreme Court justices. But we are going to stay away from some of the darker elements of our society, and we're going to give you an optimistic boost into your weekend, because America is an optimistic country. We love this place so very much, and we love to share positive American content. The thing is, we can't share all of our favorite content on this platform. The reason why is that this platform is not necessarily a free speech platform. It has some rules, regulations, and things like that. We want to be able to use free speech platforms to talk about the content that we like to share, and that content is memes. And that is why we started a brand new show called The Left Can't Meme, and it's broadcasting over at Parler.com. My handle is Benny Johnson at Parler.com, and on every Friday we publish The Left Can't Meme. This Friday we have an episode devoted to the Second Amendment and the sweet memes around the Second Amendment. There are major rules about talking about such things on other platforms, but we have no chains on us when it comes to Parler.com, a free speech platform. So please head on over to Parler.com and check out our The Left Can't Meme show, where we highlight the greatest memes of the week. On this show, we are going to be highlighting the greatest news of the week, and the greatest news starting off our show is CNN. CNN was bought by the Discovery Network, and the people at the Discovery Network don't like losing money, and they don't like losing viewers, and they don't like insufferable jackasses who use the CNN brand that was built by better journalists in order to preen and in order to ploof themselves and their favorite leftist friends in unwatchable, slobbering, disgusting activism. That is precisely what CNN has become. An unwavering PR force for the Democrat Party, no longer hard news, and absolute disgrace. We on this program tell you, hey, we're conservatives. My name is Benny. I'm a conservative. I've been a Republican my entire life. These are the values that I stand for. However, I will continue to give you truth in our news reporting, and I will be happy to tell you all about what's going on in the world through my viewpoint. That is being honest. CNN isn't honest. The Washington Post isn't honest. The New York Times isn't honest. Being honest would say, hey, we are liberal outlets. We look at the world through hard left angles. The paradigm that we look at the universe is through a hard left paradigm. But they don't say that. That's being intellectually honest. We are intellectually honest on this, so CNN is not intellectually honest, and it turns out that has an end. And the end is CNN having the lowest ratings they've ever had in history, and Discovery is trying to change that. CNN's new CEO, Chris Licht, is reportedly aiming at reducing the amount of partisan bile on the network's programming and for their on-air personalities. Axios specifically mentioned both Brian Stelter and Jim Acosta in their reporting on this issue. Upon taking over for Jeff Zucker, who was the disgraced CEO of CNN, who left and was, well, from what we hear, he was pushed out because he sucked at his job, Chris Licht vowed to make some of the changes at the network and bring it back into its intended purpose, which is to be a news network. That's what CNN was built to be. That's why it's called the Cable News Network. That's what CNN stands for. Among these changes will be a reduction of partisan programming and on-air personalities. On Tuesday, Axios reported the plan, citing sources familiar with the matter. If Licht gets his way, he's the new chief over at CNN, the on-air talent could be ousted if they can't adjust to a less partisan tone and strategy. Instead of simply firing those who he finds to be partisan, Licht is going to help give the host a chance to reform. Under Jeff Zucker, the network took a far-left, polarizing, and combative tone, largely in response to Trump, who became a major target across many shows. Axios reports that the fix would involve engaging in respectful interviews that don't feel like PR stunts and making programming decisions that are focused on nuance, not noise. Oh, that'd be nice. This is not to say that the network will become entirely bias-free. No network is. It simply means that the partisan voices will no longer drown out the rest of the content, as many conservatives have pointed out. In April, Discovery took control of CNN in a massive merger with the parent company Warner Media. The deal has brought with it changes in leadership and influence seeking to reform the network. Among them is Discovery board member John Malone, who said he would like to see CNN evolve back to the kind of journalism that it started with. Journalists, that would be refreshing, says John Malone. He is the #1 shareholder at Discovery Networks. Why are we happy about this? Why do we think that this is good news? #1 piece of good news for this week? Because CNN has been a de facto campaign contribution for Democrats for the better part of 4 years. CNN still has power. It still has a little bit of brand savvy. It definitely has advertisers. It makes money. And so what Democrats did was use all of that to their advantage by doing a wholesale neurotic takeover of the network like a cancer that had metastasized through all of CNN and using it for their personal gains, whether it be the January 6th committee or whether it be impeachments of Donald Trump or whether it be Russiagate. CNN was a cudgel to be used in order to push forward the Democrat talking points of the day and the Democrat agenda. Now that it is being returned back to just simply neutral, just like Twitter and Elon Musk's takeover is returning Twitter back to neutral. Neutrality says free speech. You can say what you want as long as it's legal. Neutrality at CNN is we will report on the facts as they stand, and we will not be using this platform for pure partisan bile. That will be a huge net loss for leftists and liberals who have counted on CNN for the booing of their terrible ideas and policies. You may remember that CNN was on the board with mostly peaceful protests when it came to the Summer of Love. CNN regularly and often used their platform to promote conspiracy theories and wild-eyed sociopaths. We are very excited to see this happening, and one of our favorite hosts over at Fox News, Jesse Waters, had this to say on the entire matter.
There's an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, what do you do if something's completely shattered? I mean, broken beyond repair? Well, that's the task ahead for CNN's new boss, Chris Light. The failing news network is getting crushed in the ratings, and now they're trying to figure out how to survive post-Donald Trump. And the word on the street is that CNN might clean house. According to a new report in Axios, Liked, or whatever his name is, the new CNN president is, quote, evaluating whether personalities and programming that grew polarizing during the Trump era can adapt to the network's new priority to be less partisan. If talent cannot adjust to a less partisan tone and strategy, they could be ousted. Who could those people be? Well, Axios names specifically Brian Stelter and Jim Acosta. Those two talking heads are on the chopping block.
Jesse Waters, also a huge win for Jesse Waters this week, as Paul Pelosi will now be charged in Napa Valley. Nobody has been better. We've covered it a lot. We've done 4 or 5 lives on Paul Pelosi and his drunk driving. We've done a lot of content based on it, but Jesse Waters has used his position at Fox in order to really hammer down and use the lawyers that Fox employs to file FOIAs against the Sonoma County board there and the Napa County board there to get the mugshots and the footage. Again, this is all like public domain stuff, so you should be allowed to see all of this. You paid for it, the taxpayers. Where's Paul Pelosi's mugshot? What's happening is there is a criminal conspiracy with the Pelosi's and Gavin Newsom to shut down anything embarrassing having to do with the Pelosi family. They don't want this footage out there. But guess what? Equal protections under the law in the United States means that you are not a king. You are not a queen, Nancy Pelosi. And so we're going to see your drunk-ass husband plow through a gate. We're going to see his mugshot, and you're going to be charged and arraigned. And so much of this is hats off to Jesse Waters, who's devoted minutes on end, which is a lot of time in the cable news space, to talking about this issue and then sicking lawyers on the issue, asking for FOIAs and demanding that they release these documents. And now Paul Pelosi will be arraigned and will be charged with drunk driving. Can you believe that? They were going to just let him off scot-free. Not scotch-free. Definitely scotch was part of the problem here, but scot-free. Well, somebody who is absolutely being let off, a Disney chairman who voiced his opposition to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' anti-grooming bill has been canned. This is a man named Peter Rice. Peter Rice, according to The Hollywood Reporter, saw the parental rights and education bill as a violation of fundamental human rights. And first off, ladies and gentlemen, people like Peter Rice don't live in Florida. People like Peter Rice live in Burbank, California, inside of a gated community, surrounded by other leftist sycophants inside of a cotton candy cocooned bubble that is impenetrable by reality. The reality is that even a plurality of Democrats were against the grooming of children in schools, sexual indoctrination, and were in favor of Ron DeSantis' anti-groomer bill. So yeah, they're on the wrong side of history here at Disney, and more importantly, stop using California as a toxic pipeline to push your sick worldview on the rest of us living in normal America. No longer. Thank God Ron DeSantis shut these freaks down. Well, anyway, Disney's getting rid of one freak, Peter Rice, who worked at Disney since its acquisition of 21st Century Fox, was the chairman of Disney General Entertainment Content. That seems like a big deal. Created original entertainment and news programming for the Walt Disney Company's streaming platform, Disney Plus, Hulu, and so on. Man, and by the way, I'm hearing a lot of bad things about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's another woke disaster for Disney. They just cannot win, and that's what happens. When you go woke, you go broke, and it's just a mind virus. It's a mind virus. Variety describes Rice's ousting as shocking in a turn of events. Deadline reports that Dana Walden, the chairman of the entertainment division, will be taking his position. The move marks a high-profile restructuring and a shift made by Disney CEO Bob Chapek as he continues to put the mark on the studio that Bob Iger left. Well, here we go. Rice spent the last few months feuding off wide rumors that Warner Brothers Discovery chief David Zalaz would tap him to run the entertainment business for him. The word on the street was that Rice wanted to take Bob Chapek's job. Remember, Bob Chapek is the guy who initially had it right when it came to the anti-groomer bill, but then ended up getting it horribly, horribly wrong. He initially said, we're Disney, we don't do politics, you can pass whatever bill is you want. We're not elected representatives in the state of Florida. So Florida has a right to elect their representatives, and those representatives represent the people of Florida, and then they can pull them out of office if they don't like what they do, and then we can reverse the bills that they've signed. We can get rid of or do anything we want in the state of Florida. That's for the elected representatives to do, not us. We're just a multinational corporation that operates in a ton of unfriendly countries to gay people. So out of pure hypocrisy and hubris, we better stay the hell out of this argument, because we do cruises to the Dominican Republic where homosexuality is legal, and in China, same thing. But they didn't choose to do that. And so Bob Chapek never woke enough. The woke mind virus always eats itself. The woke will always destroy itself. And now it looks like Bob Chapek, according to insiders, is firing some people who wanted his job because he wasn't woke enough. And there's going to be a big shakeup over at Disney. It doesn't help that Disney's stock price has cratered, just absolute atrocious drop. And this was supposed to be a time when they're releasing big series like Kenobi that suck, and they're releasing they're supposed to be bringing people in. Disney streaming is collapsing. Disney stock price is collapsing. You go woke, you go broke. Also, very special news from the Washington Post. The ongoing and exciting drama at the Washington Post. It turns out that the Washington Post finally decided to fire its political reporter, Felicia Sonmez. Felicia Sonmez has been going absolutely ballistic. She's a lunatic. She's blocked me on Twitter, so I haven't been able to see some of the best of it. I don't know anything about this person, but she blocked me maybe this week, maybe a long time ago. I'm not sure. But she has been going ballistic online. She's a total lunatic. She's been attacking her own media site. She's been going nuts after Dave Weigel, who's a reporter at the Washington Post, he retweeted what was seen by some as a sexist joke. This has led to just a complete meltdown inside of the Washington Post. And Good News Friday, a wokester inside of the Washington Post who's just setting fires everywhere. She's just going just bananas on Twitter. She's trying to get fired, right? I think she's trying to get fired. She'd already sued the Washington Post and gotten that lawsuit thrown out. I think she's looking now for a wrongful termination suit. Felicia Sonmez. So by Felicia at the Washington Post, expect more fireworks. The drama there has been absolutely enticing to watch. And the reason why is because this is end stage wokeness. End stage wokeness is just bitter, horrible people doing bitter, horrible, narcissistic things to each other and being so selfish, so cruel to each other that they just implode. They just blow up. They just self-destruct. Chris Rufo has this to say. Chris Rufo, the crusader against wokeism online. The heart of wokeness is envy. The domain of wokeness is inner elite competition. The incentives of wokeness lead to privilege to adopt victim identities. The result of wokeness are personal neuroticisms and institutional dysfunction. Felicia Sonmez, we hope that you get the therapy and the help that you deserve. And bye, Felicia. Woke go broke. Disney going woke, going completely broke. Everyone backstabbing each other at Disney. Everyone backstabbing each other at the Washington Post. And they have no one to blame but themselves, because these are trash publications and organizations who have embraced the cancer of wokeness, and they have destroyed themselves in the process. It's an evil ideology. As Elon Musk says, it inspires cruelty. It's like cruelty that is masquerading as goodness in people, and it's not. It's actually just cruel and horrible people who have fake armor on, fake virtue on. And it's amazing to see. There's nothing fake, by the way, about the polls for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's polling approval rating has dropped 24% with Hispanic Americans and 49% with black voters. And Joe Biden's job performance is down 14 points since April. Brutal from Breitbart.com. Joe Biden's approval rating with Hispanic Americans have plummeted to just 24%. How can you get lower? 24%. Remember, Democrats, because Hispanics are part of the minority coalition of disadvantaged people that Democrats wish to cobble together to get permanent power, because they are actually racist. They think that just because Hispanics are not white people, they're going to vote with them forever. That they were counting on Hispanics voting in huge numbers for Democrats. Not the case. 24% approval for Joe Biden among Hispanics. The poll reveals that Biden's overall approval rating with Americans remains in the negatives, and about 35% approving of the job that he is doing. Yikes, 35% approve of all Americans. That's including like white liberals who are college educated. With Hispanic Americans, the poll shows that 24% approve of Biden as president. 6 in 10 Americans disapprove. 18% of Hispanic Americans said they were unsure of their opinions. The poll indicates that Biden's approval rating, broken down by racial groups, is the lowest among Hispanic Americans ever. White Americans only slightly disapprove more than Hispanic Americans, so Hispanic Americans actually disapprove as much as white Americans. How is that for your racial politics, libs? Only 49% of black voters approve of Biden's job performance, down 14% since April. President Biden's approval rating among black individuals has shrunk 49%, falling 14 points. Quinnipiac poll has found. Only 24% of black voters strongly approve of Biden, down 33%. And this is leading to moments like this one on CNN broadcast. Harry Enton, who is their pollster over at CNN and data guy, had this shocking moment where essentially he just like red-pilled the entire CNN audience. I don't think they'll ever recover from this. Check it out.
Joins us live. Harry, if you're a Republican running for re-election or trying to unseat a Democrat, things are looking pretty good, right?
I would say they're looking very good from a historical context. So basically, I took the best Republican positions on the generic congressional ballot at this point in midterm cycles since 1938. That generic ballot basically is, would you vote for the generic Republican or generic Democrat in your district? And guess what? Since 1938, the Republican 2-point lead on the generic congressional ballot is the best position for Republicans at this point in any midterm cycle in over 80 years. It beats 2010 when Republicans were up a point. It beats 2002, 1998 where Democrats led by a point. And in all of those 4 prior examples that make this list of the top 5, look at that. Who won a majority? It was the Republicans who won a majority. Now, of course, the election is not being held tomorrow, and we'll see. Sometimes history isn't always prologue. But my estimate for the 2023 House makeup, if the election were held today, which again it isn't, we still have 5 months from tomorrow, would be Republicans 236 seats to 241 seats, Democrats 194 to 199. That's based off of a formula of seat-to-seat race ratings from both the Cook Political Report and Inside Elections.
That is a stomping, or that would be a stomping.
Yes, it
I guess.
would.
We'll see if it happens. A lot of the Democrats' problems, it seems, can be linked back to the president, right, who is severely underwater.
And in our last Good News Friday story, Turning Point USA launches Turning Point Academy. I cannot wait to send one of my kids to this school. It is a guarantee that if a Johnson family child goes to a school with other kids, it will absolutely be a private school, and it will not just be like the woke Catholic private school around the corner from us down here, which is really bad. I mean, they've been like losing donors because they've been this woke Catholic school here in Tampa that should be immune to this stuff has been bringing in all these woke critical race theory curriculum people. Poison. People have been pulling their kids out of even the Catholic schools down here. They're waiting for something like this, Turning Point Academy, which will promote traditional patriotic values planned across the nation, according to the Post-Millennial here. What is Turning Point Academy? TPUSA said that in collaboration with a Christian school in Arizona, it will be the first in a growing network of schools that will launch across the country in the coming years. They call it Turning Point Academy in the Phoenix suburbs, and it's partnering with Dream City Christian School. In a release, Turning Point USA said that the collaboration will be the first in a growing network of schools that will be launched across the country in the coming years. There will be 2 tracks, one that is essentially Christian and one that prioritizes American values. Dream City Christian, a Turning Point Academy, will be focused on raising a generation of well-educated, courageous, patriotic, and principled leaders ready to impact their communities, their country, and their culture at large, the press release continued. Enrollment is currently open at Dream City Christian Turning Point Academy and will welcome 600 students starting in the fall of 2022. The academy currently has 30 teachers on staff and more in the coming weeks. The school will offer schooling for kindergartens through 12th grade students, as well as the best-in-class curriculum, competitive sports, access to extracurricular learning activities throughout the school year, the press release states. I'll do it. And I work with Turning Point, but I'm telling you, I've been waiting for something like this to come along. Like, this is precisely what the answer needs to be to woke public schools. You need to create an alternative. This is the alternative. Turning Point Academy is the alternative. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point, says, Dream City Christian is an amazing collaborator in this project, and we're grateful to do this together. They already have an amazing start, including a physical school faculty and a much greater groundwork that has already been laid. But Turning Point Academy, for our part, is uniquely positioned to take school to the next level. Having been in the education world for 10 years, we have access to some of the best educational resources, teachers, and curriculum across the country. It is incredible to be working at Turning Point and to see all of the campuses. I mean, there's hundreds of campuses with Turning Point chapters. There's kids everywhere and educators everywhere. And the number one thing you hear is that, like, people are just so sick of the wokeness. They're sick of the poison that goes into their kids, and they're sick of being part of that process. It's an absolute cancer on our education system. It didn't used to be that way. We talked to a lot of teachers, and a lot of teachers like, we don't like this process. We don't do this. We didn't sign up for this, essentially. We didn't sign up to be part of critical race theory or gender ideology. We signed up to be part of something that taught children and didn't indoctrinate them into a perverse worldview. And so God bless Turning Point Academy. We'll be sending our kids probably to one if there's one in Tampa. Luckily, my kids are young, so it'll take some time to build. These kind of things take time, and this is extremely encouraging. Ladies and gentlemen, encouraging is what we hope this show was for you. Those are all good stories, happy stories, good things happening, the movement moving forward, the justice of CNN collapsing their partisan coverage, the justice of Disney imploding after going woke, the Washington Post imploding after going woke. And Whew, man, Joe Biden, there is no crater on Earth deeper than his polling crater right now. Send your kids to Turning Point Academy. One of these days, it will be very, very smart for you to do that. And it's very, very smart to have your priorities right, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Benny Johnson. Our priorities are right on this show. God, family, country. Thank you for watching. See ya.